Hello, welcome to an all-new Marvelcast exposure to makes hub of all things Marvel, a place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to Dr. Dorcas and Tiger Shark. My name's Ashley Hobley, joining me today, Ultimate Ciaran Marchant.
You know, you really do go to the depths, like the true depths, to find these names. I swear, half the time, you know.
I don't know if he just missed it, but he was like, introduced himself, had no tagline, and just went straight to you. Did that?
Yeah. Also joining us, the astonishing Dylan Blight.
I happen to be here to talk about this movie.
Listen, I was too emotional to come up with a tagline, so
that's it. Okay.
So today we're talking about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So this is going to be full spoilers. So please be aware we'll be spoiling anything and everything about the plot themes in any of the movie. So if you haven't watched it, come back later. With that said, let's jump to a discussion of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
His people did not call him general or king. They called him Coogler, the feather serpent god. Killing him will risk eternal war.
He's coming for the surface world.
We know what you whisper. They have lost their protector. Now is our time to strike. Show them who we are.
Directed by Ryan Coogler, screenplay by Ryan Coogler and Joe Robert Cole, story by Ryan Coogler, starring Letitia, Wright, Lupita, Nyong'o, Danai, Gurira, Winston, Duke, Dominique, Thorne, Florence, Kasumba, Michaela, Coel, Tenoch, Huerta, Martin Freeman, and Angela Bassett. Queen Ramonda, Shuri, M'Baku, Okoye, and the Dora Milaje fight to protect their nation from intervening world powers in the wake of King T'Challa's death. As the Wakandans strive to embrace their next chapter, the heroes must band together with Nakia and Everett Ross to forge a new path for their beloved kingdom. Ciaran, what did you think of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever?
I think this is the best movie since Phase 4 started. Like, this movie was really good. And that's not really saying much. I think, you know, we've been in somewhat of a holding pattern for movies and for this part of the MCU, but I feel this movie's really special. I think Namor is one of the best MCU villains. I absolutely loved Namor. I loved the attention and build-up that they gave to Namor and his people to make them scary as fuck. That scene of them, like when they're first attacking that oil rig, was fucking terrifying. I think in a prospect of having the ocean, it's funny when you compare this Namor to the Namor in like Aquaman, and it's just, this is so much better.
The Ocean Master?
Ocean Master?
Or Aquaman? Which one are you trying for?
Isn't there Namor? No.
No.
I swear there's Namor.
There's one Namor.
Oh, okay. I thought there was two. Well, you know, it's fine. It's what it is.
In the comics, he's a white dude.
No, I know that. I just thought.
Is that why you're confused?
No, I think he has Black Manta. No, that's my fault.
I know if he is a white dude in the comics.
I'm pretty
Namor
sure
is. Namor is definitely a white dude in the comics.
Pretty sure he's just a white dude.
The only reason I know that is because the amount of times I spent looking at Namor in Marvel Snap. Yeah, and he's
they changed him. Like, that's not to, like, I'll come back to Ciaran continue in a second, but like, to get this out of the way, they changed him from to get away from the whole Atlantis thing. Obviously, to not get too many comparisons to DC and anything else like that. But they ditched Atlantis. They ditched the just boring white dude thing. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason I like the movie. But yeah, continue.
But no, I loved Namor. I loved, he was a character that had some stakes, and it felt like, you know, that he was definitely a threat, and I'm really glad they didn't just spit him out and throw him away like they do with other previously potential good villains. Having Shuri as the main aspect or the main focus of the movie was good overall with hers, and to see her interactions and her almost go off the deep end a little bit and turn towards that revenge storyline, and how that connected with the plots of Killmonger from Black Panther and moving forward into this one. Loved Ironheart, loved, you know, what she got to do in this and the interest in there. My major sticking point and my only thing I really didn't like is I fucking hated Okoye's armor design. I thought it looked fucking
Midnight
stupid.
somethings.
The Midnight Angels or something like that? It was something like that. Yeah. But I hated it, and I'm like, why did you need to give her armor? She is such a cool... Like, the part I loved about her character was that she was a non-superpowered badass, and she kind of hung with the best of them. So
she's fighting a bunch of superpowered badasses. So, I mean,
well, I guess so, but you didn't have to make the costume look so stupid. I
think it's the
head. It is the headpiece.
It's the back piece, like the mullet bit.
Yeah, and the fact that when she loses the front, it like keeps that back section. It's very strange. I know, I thought it was great, and then I'm sure we'll talk about it more after, but I think, the best post-credit scene that I've seen in a very long time in an MCU movie.
All right. Dylan, what do you think of Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
Yeah, I mean, it's easily the best. What phase is this? 6?
Phase 4.
4? Fuck, I jumped ahead a bit. This is easily the best Phase 4 movie. The bar was pretty low, to be honest. It's been a very mediocre, but I mean, we keep putting up, it's the first of a new thing. Anyway, yeah, easily the best. It's definitely one of, if not the best. Like, I don't know, it definitely like slipped into the top 3 of the last, since Black Panther, I guess. But I feel like it's the way I would like shorthand review it is, this movie is really, really good. It's not as good as the original, it's not as good as the first one, but it's considering they had the lead pass, and this is what they've come out with, and amongst everything else, I feel like it's sort of crazy how you got a movie this good, considering Ryan Coogler had a whole different script and, you know, everything else like that. So it's sort of crazy. I don't like the stuffing of Martin Freeman's character, whatever that is. What's his name?
Everett Ross.
Ross. I don't like him in this at all compared to the first one, where he actually felt like he was part of the movie and needed to be there. He feels entirely put in there to tag along.
He's there to. It's almost like he's there for the Thunderbolts and like for that kind of. Yeah. Like to further that.
He could have left the movie after his first scene.
Yeah, and he's only back. The only reason we come back to him is so they can continue teasing the Thunderbolts with I can't remember the character
Countessa.
name.
It's Countessa.
Whatever her name is.
I thought that
that all her stuff is all her stuff in. She's in his scenes, all of that was sort of killing the pacing for me a bit. And that's nearly like 10, 15 minutes of footage, I feel like it would be. So I feel like that sort of thing, like the movie has some off pacing, and when I was thinking about it on my drive home, I put entirely all the blame onto every time we cut away to a scene with him, is sort of how I was feeling with that. And I feel like we could have got a lot better without that stuff. I don't feel like the fight scenes are particularly good, and I didn't feel like they were in the first movie either. I feel like there's some interesting stuff with the way they use Namor and like the way he bounces around and whatever else, but I feel like the actual fight scenes when you're getting to see like a couple of people versus like the scene where Okoye fights on the bridge, even then I'm like, look, here's a chance to just shoot a good fight scene, and it's still just like typical Marvel bullshit where that's Marvel for me in a whole. Like I love the first movie, but I never said.
Are you upset that all the enemies are blue?
I think it's offensive to the Blue Man Group. Yes. No. I love the first movie, but I complained about the fight in that as well, and that's not like a highlight for me. but the villain again is great. Like Namor is, I think, better than Killmonger, probably.
Yeah,
I think he's a lot more engaging. That's sort of hard to say because Killmonger is really good as well, of course. But the only thing I didn't like about Namor is, and again, so I feel like it was sort of a pacing thing, and they just didn't know how to get the information out there. Is this whole like let's flashback and do my origin story thing? I was like, all right, like this whole movie like escapes from like pretty like old stereotypes at times, but then they're like, let me sit down and talk to the protagonist and explain my whole backstory. Like, I was like, all right.
I didn't mind, like, no. I didn't mind the flashback. I think the only part of the flashback that maybe was a bit thick was like the very end of the flashback with them going onto land and seeing
him burying his mother and seeing the
and seeing that place.
Slaves.
I'm like, because I think for me that's almost treading too much on Killmonger's storyline, and I know that's supposed to be what it is, and like the similarities between Wakanda,
parallels,
and like the parallels and stuff. But at the same time, I don't know. I feel like it was just a bit heavy-handed and a little bit, a little bit, I guess, forced in a way into the storyline, which I don't think it was needed to be that way. Like, I think they'd already got that message across very clearly and very well at that point, it's just, I think that was my only part with the flashbacks.
I mean, it's a much bigger downer of a movie than the first. The entire film's just like different characters dealing with grief in their own way and discovering how to deal with that. So it, like, in that part, you take Shuri, this character who was sort of a bubbling character, always happy and whatever else from the first film, and now she just has none of that at all. I'm not saying that's a criticism, it's just like interesting how this movie is totally committed to, like, every character in this is stricken with grief for either T'Challa or someone else, but and dealing with it in their own way. But it's just funny how this is like the second longest MCU movie, and it's probably one of the biggest downer of any of them. I feel like there's nearly no humor or your typical MCU humor in this at all. Like, the only character who's sort of funny is or M'Baku, I was going to say, I guess, every now and then. But I felt like coming into this, the last thing I'll say is I felt like coming into this that I was going to feel like Ironheart was forced in just as a backdoor pilot for the Disney Plus series. But I actually felt like her tying in, like, it's sort of silly that she designed this Wakandan tracker, like, Vibranium tracker in like 2 months or whatever. But it's like whatever. But like that tying in, like having her character tie in and all that sort of stuff, I felt like she folded in very well. So really, really, really good. I don't think it's quite as good as the first one, just because it's a little bit messier than the original film. But yes, it's still way better than like 9 out of 10 other MCU movies we've had since then.
The way I'm thinking about it is I really like it. I just didn't love it, which is disappointing. I think a little bit, because obviously we had that trailer, the Comic-Con trailer, that was like a banger trailer. It's like, I feel like it didn't quite live up to that, but yeah, it was fun time overall. I think a lot of the world building is really interesting in this movie, like kind of building up Namor and what's the name of the city? Tenoch?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Not Atlantis.
Yeah, I think that's all interesting. I think the way they've kind of integrated Namor into Aztec mythology and that kind of stuff is really interesting, and like a really great way to like make it different to the comics, make it different to, well, very different to Aquaman over at DC. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting film because really it's just a war between these two countries, like slowly.
Whilst
one that really doesn't need to have taken place at all.
I was gonna say they are like in the background continually like placing the setup for Wakanda versus America, I guess is the.
I guess at some point, yeah, America's gonna like try to invade Wakanda, or like.
Oh no, that's 100% happening. That's what's that woman says.
Contessa Val
Yeah, Valenhart, whatever her name is.
Yeah, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who I feel like was completely different in this than she has been in any other
She was
small
way
cameo
more, and
appearance.
Maybe because we got to see
Also,
her...
she was married to Everett Ross. I don't know if you can.
Maybe that is the thing, though, is that we're seeing her through the eyes of Everett Ross, through her relationship with Everett Ross, and at the same time, she's maybe laying it on very thick to play around him. Apparently she was able to bug the hyper tech beads and listen to all their conversations on it and stuff like that. Like, I think maybe that was why.
Maybe, yeah. Just fuck it. I wonder who's she working for then.
She's the director of the CIA.
Oh, okay, that's a little bit boring for in the MCU.
You see, I think it's opposite. I think that's super interesting. Instead of having her heading a secret organization or a private company, no, she is heading a major government organization and kind of secret service in a way. Like, it is. I think that's super interesting, personally. Like, to have, and I guess it just makes it interesting. I want to see how people feel about, or at least I guess American viewers feel about
being the bad guys,
being the bad guys and being made into the bad guys, and like, even like, fucking France, who are the makers of white flags, apparently got ready to rob some fucking vibranium. I was like,
cool.
That's
that was a freaking cool opening with like the fight sequence with the Okoje coming out of that room, planted. Freaking French people, am I right? It would have been cooler if it was our old mate, the Leaper was one of the dudes. Isn't he French?
Who
Captain America fights in the Winter Soldier.
George St. Pierre.
Yeah.
Because he was in Winter Soldier. It'd be really weird for him to.
Well, he was also in
not Winter Soldier, the other one, Captain America, and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
That's he was in that as well.
Yeah.
I guess he's a mercenary, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
How do we feel about how they handled, Chadwick's death? Obviously, they open with him dying of some disease. Shuri trying to save him with the heart-shaped flower.
I love how closely they made it to real life. And I went into this movie ready to cry because I remember Chadwick Boseman's passing and reading the stories around his passing was maybe one of the first celebrities to kind of really hit me, because generally I'm like, I don't care, or like, it's not.
You're generally pretty heartless, yeah.
No. but Chadwick's passing and knowing that he had struggled with his disease, like with the disease for so long and his condition for so long, and he held it together because he wanted to be the symbol that Black Panther and T'Challa was to his people is inspiring. And then to see that same storyline be used as like kind of as part of this and part of what T'Challa's passing, I think is amazing. Yeah, I was actually, credits hit, I was like, man, I'm kind of sad. I didn't cry. Like, nothing really pulled on the heartstrings too much. And then after that post-credit scene hit, and then the waterworks started, because I'm like, holy fuck, this is, it kind of further brings along Chadwick as a person into the character, and I think, it just makes it pretty well done, in my opinion.
I call bullshit. They recast him as a 9-year-old? It's an outrage.
We'll get to that. I think one thing that did hit me pretty hard was the Marvel logo.
Have they ever done a silent Marvel logo? Like,
I don't think. I'm trying to think, because obviously the other one is Dead Stan Lee.
Right?
I can't remember if that was silent or not.
I don't think it was silent.
Stan Lee's wasn't silent because Stan Lee's had. Didn't they have like Stan Lee quotes and stuff playing over the top
like
of it?
that? I feel like they did.
And then something.
The end game one had like it had stuff playing in the background. It wasn't full silent.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I think it was interesting because throughout the film, whenever they did do flashbacks or cut to footage of Chadwick, it was silent. They never used his voice in this film, which I thought was pretty restrained because it'd be pretty easy to like pull some audios from something he's recorded in a past movie or something.
Well done to, and I'm guessing this is Ryan Coogler and the team behind this rather than Disney, but Disney's well known for kind of parading their their past stars back on screen one last time via CGI.
There was no chance that was going to happen.
I feel like it would have happened if Coogler wasn't doing it. I feel like if Disney really wanted it, I feel like if he had left this up to the committee, like the quote unquote committee to make this movie at Disney, they totally would have put a fucking.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think you would have had instead.
I think if Coogler wasn't there, they would have recast. That's my opinion. I mean, they just recast Thunderbolt Ross, so.
Yeah, that's not really
allegedly.
That's
I
not
don't know
really
if it's 100%
Panther,
confirmed. Yeah. But yeah, pretty touching tribute opening. My one question is, where did his coffin go?
Where did any of the coffins go?
Space.
Is that what happened? Yeah. They take him in the ship and they just yeet him out in space.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess, but there's, what the problem is? They did yeet him out into space. He never freezes.
Good point. I was trying to work out the timeline of this movie so badly, but it's gonna hurt my
This
brain.
movie doesn't make the timeline. When they jump to a year, I'm like, motherfuckers, another Marvel movie jumping a year in fucking time? Are you fucking kidding me?
Because the problem is already okay. So he's blipped. He comes back from blip. How many years or how many months is he blipped back in before he gets sick? Before the start of this movie, so then this was you know what I mean. Like,
she was gone for 6 years. Like Nakia was gone for 6 years, and she left when
which means
the blip happened.
She left at the blip.
Yeah, which means he came back sick, basically. Is what they're saying.
He was already
sick before he got blipped.
All that, yes.
Which is the equivalent to real life Chadwick story.
Which is fucked because that means they literally didn't have their king.
He fought Thanos while sick. This is pretty dope.
Well, they didn't have their king for however many, was it 4 years? No.
5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
They didn't have their king for 5 years in Wakanda. He comes back. They have him for a couple months. He dies. How fucked up that?
The thing is, and then he gets more fucked up when
tragic.
Then their queen fucking drowns while it's under attack.
That was rough. I didn't think that was going to do that, yeah.
Extremely rough. I was like, you're going to kill another person? You're not just letting Chadwick's T'Challa's death be the carrying motivation throughout this movie. You're adding another person.
Ryan Coogler's a real filmmaker. He's not afraid to kill.
Yeah, he knows how to get real motivation for characters. Just keep killing.
Also, gonna say the most ruthless and badass fight moment did happen in this movie. I think. When she cut off fucking Namor's wings with
that was pretty
fucking claws, yeah. I was like, "That's metal as fuck. Let's go!"
I'll tell you,
and then they kind of ruined the end of that.
The one moment that had my cinema actually, I'll go, "Ooh!" at once was not that, but in the fight with Okoye where she's fighting the big dude. And he sticks his fucking spear in the ground and then slams her. Clotheslines into it. My cinema literally audibly, I've heard half the cinema go, ooh, that's when that happened. So.
That looked like it sucked. Okay, just while we're talking about the cinemas, were you how full were your screenings?
Yeah, 3/4, I think.
Yeah, probably about the same. But it was Titanlock, so I mean it was pretty big cinema. But
yeah.
So I had there was this is the smallest crowd I've seen for an opening night of a.
What time did you go there?
6:30.
6:30. Okay. Maybe people go a bit later.
Normally is crowded and packed, and normally you're lining up and getting time. No, I walked straight in, which made me think. This is from my point of view compared to yourselves, who are very much more involved in the movie industry and the bubble for movies. I've heard very little about this movie in terms of marketing and overall trailers and stuff. Generally, if it wasn't for this podcast, I probably wouldn't know that this movie came out.
That is sad.
This week. That is so sad. If you compare that to every other Marvel movie ever, where it's like it's kind of plastered everywhere and you see it. This movie is not everywhere, and not everybody is talking and building up anticipation about it. It feels very strange, in my perfect opinion, considering it's a good movie. I was going into this, I was kind of worried it was a bad movie, and there's a reason the marketing feels like it's nothing.
No,
I think maybe it's like a hard one to market. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, there has been 3 trailers. I guess they did like a final trailer like a day or two ago.
I was about to say, I've seen the trailer at the cinema quite a lot. Any recent movie I've seen in the cinema, I've seen a Black Panther trailer. And the premiere last week in Hollywood or whatever was all positive buzz, and I saw a lot of stuff on my social media from that. So, but my social
Ciaran,
media
can I ask you a question?
different to Kieran's social media.
Do you have an ad blocker on?
No,
Okay.
I don't. The only thing is, I have a YouTube Premium, so I don't see
Yeah. So
ads.
where are you seeing ads then?
Generally on my Twitter or on Twitch when I'm on Twitch, or browsing websites. Like generally, if I open up like an IGN article,
Yeah,
I feel like I've seen
unless IGN is paid to sponsor it, you're going to be seeing ads based on your browser history.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The thing is, right, and I'm just coming from this from, I guess, my point of view, where I'm not in the spaces you're involved in. Generally, those trailers and shit still leak into my overall like spheres. Like, fuck, I talk on podcasts about Marvel shit all the time in front of my phone, and my phone knows shit all the time and starts giving me articles and stuff.
FBI go listen in. Yeah.
It's just this is just my point of view, I guess, is that this just shows very low on the marketing efforts.
I don't know. We'll see the numbers. I think the numbers will still be very high.
Again, I feel like a lot of people are going to go tomorrow night. We're obviously recording Wednesday, when like advanced screenings or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say these classes of advanced.
People just don't know. They're not paying attention to the special advanced screenings. So, how do we feel about Shuri's story over this film? Obviously, she starts off with everybody dying. She tags along on this trip to go rescue a scientist, gets captured. Oh, well, she goes of her own free will, gets to experience, I'm trying to find if there's some reference.
Underwater jet streams.
Telecan.
Which she goes in a suit that somebody totally died in at the start of the movie.
Well, I mean, that was the thing that pulled me out. I'm like, they say they don't have any of these above ground. They don't trust any of the surface dwellers. She's the first ever surface dweller to go down to the city. Why do they have these suits?
Well, that's the exact suit that they stole at the start of the movie in the oil rig.
Oh,
yeah, they're the ones.
Remember
that does actually
the person
make sense. Yeah.
yoinked. Yeah, it's exactly that. Which I was like, that's fucking messed up. Somebody totally died in that thing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
she goes to the city. She gets rescued, which starts the war.
Hey, they were playing Blitzball, like Aztec Blitzball, though, down there. Like, it was, I was like, damn.
Yeah, thanks, you
guys.
No, it's whatever game they play in Roche El Dorado.
Yeah, but because it's underwater, it's instantly Blitzball.
Yeah, I'm with Karen.
They're just playing Blitzball. Even, like, at the start, if you watch the opening cinematic to Final Fantasy X, where Tidus is like doing flips and shit in the Blitzball, he does like a hand symbol like in the game, like just to celebrate people. So it's just Blitzball, man.
Yep. So obviously she visits the city, gets rescued. They attack, and she sets about becoming the Black Panther when her mother dies, but she's on a set. She wants vengeance. She's Batman.
I feel like
in this movie.
I don't love her vengeance part. I was very weird about that part because
how her mum died. I think it makes perfect sense.
I understand
No,
it, but
I'm not.
That was her last family member. Like she literally lost her mind when her brother died, and then her last living family member dies. Like to me, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
I get it, but I don't know. I just wasn't buying the conversation between her and Killmonger in terms of her.
I thought that was I thought that was she was going to go reject what he's saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I thought...
But no, she bought in 100%.
And that's the thing. I was waiting for her to be like, no, I'm not doing it your way, and I'm not doing my brother's way. I'm doing it my own way. And maybe that's too predictable. You know what? You'd also think with her turning up in a Black Panther suit that is clearly the same as the Killmonger variant of the Black Panther suit.
Well, it's
design,
yellow, yeah. Or gold.
You would think somebody would be like, hang on a minute, this doesn't feel right. Like, this doesn't quite feel...
that... Nakia questions her. M'Baku questions her, so... People did notice.
Yeah, that's fair.
So... yeah, so she's almost gets her vengeance, but then she has a vision of her mother, which... don't love that. Wish she had have kind of come to that choice by herself, you know?
Thing is, I wish it had been less magic and more like she has a moment where she feels
it is
interesting.
Yeah,
where there's less symbolism, like less in your face. Like, hey, she's gone. She sees her mother in a vision, and more just the wind and everything around her.
If it had been like a moment. Because obviously, an ongoing theme within the film is the idea of spirituality versus science. And her mother, obviously being very spiritual, believing in signs and rituals and the ancestry and that kind of stuff. And Shuri, obviously being 100% devoted to science. And how those two can't really, or struggle to, fit together. Yeah, I thought that would have been more powerful than, like... a straight-up vision of her mother going, hey, show them who you really are. You know? But but again, that's like difficult to do on screen, I think. This was probably the easiest way. I suspect maybe Ryan Coogler tried that, and then in test screenings, the audience was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, that's fair. Also, did not love how the fight with Namor ended in terms with her doing a flip over the top of him, doing the Wakanda Forever cross, and then the ship flaming up. There was just something that didn't...
I think she rigged it, right?
Quite work. She rigged it, but just, I don't know. I'm okay with the fire. I'm okay with the fire. There's something about the Wakanda Forever moment that I was like, no.
Why? That was the key phrase. You know, that was the code word.
It just feels like cheesy when you...
Ban this motherfucker!
It just feels cheesy when she's on this vengeance arc. Like, I want it to be brutal in that moment. Like, I want her to be...
It was. Did you see his back?
Burn him alive now.
No. The thing is... Right. The thing that happened, brutal. The way that she made it happen, not brutal, kind of cheesy.
I mean, she did just rip a spear out of her midriff, so I mean... Yeah.
So, even more reason for her not to be fucking cheesy.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Shuri's journey over the film?
Random question. When she didn't rock up to, the king crowning ceremony or, the water thing...
I don't know.
What the fuck happened there? Because I was very...
I think it was a joke.
Yeah, I just... Yeah.
M'Baku's like, hey, I'm challenging. She's not going to fight me. I'm going to take it down.
I just wish they played that maybe a couple seconds longer to show people's reaction to that, to maybe emphasize that it was a joke and not just hard cut away from it to jump away. It was, anything.
Yeah. Such an M'Baku. He's, he suddenly becomes the elder statesman of the film. Very quickly, the head counsel, and obviously that conversation that he has with Shuri after her mother dies, and I made a promise to your brother, I'd help you. After all this death, you're not a child anymore, and that kind of callback and that kind of stuff. I thought it was really fun throughout the film, and obviously coming into the council meeting, chewing on a carrot.
Yo, I spent far too long trying to work out if that was a carrot or a hot dog.
Because they're vegetarian, remember?
Yeah, I just couldn't... Yeah, I don't know.
What, you're saying it was a vegan sausage?
It could have been a vegan fucking sausage. It's Wakanda, man.
Man. I do love that his staff, totally got broke as soon as he hit Namor. It's like, why are you carrying around this wooden thing at this point?
Like, I was just like...
A city full of vibranium.
When he sees in that person, he's just like, Fishman.
I would kick that fishman's ass, and then breaks his staff, takes the most brutal punch probably in the entire film.
He would have killed him if he wasn't wearing the armor.
Yeah.
Broke his bloody chest in half.
Yeah. And Baku. He's great. Okoye, she goes through her arc throughout this film. She's the one who says Shuri should come along on their mission to rescue Riri. And her getting, like, torn down and, like, dismissed of her general duties was pretty harsh. Yeah. Hard to watch. Crazy that's the scene that had the Angela Bassett, like, moment from the trailer.
I can't remember that from the trailer.
Yeah. Pretty powerful stuff.
I really liked it. She's, I felt like it was good to have her sort of do more than just be the general of the smartass attitude, which is kind of all she had in the first film. Like her relationship with T'Challa. Her relationship with Shuri is a lot different, so.
Yeah. Obviously, she's very anti-science powered things, but she relents, I guess, at the end.
I like it when she gets her new gear that Ciaran doesn't like. She shits on it.
Do you like it?
No, I don't like it, but I don't dislike it that much. But, I just like when she's showing it, she like shit talks it, and then and then Shuri's like, "I made you a new spear," and she's like, "A new spear."
Yeah, I really loved her and Shuri. Like, obviously in that their Boston, is it? I think they're in. That whole sequence was a lot of fun. Definitely obviously reminiscent of the Bangkok, I want to say, segment of the first film.
Oh, the car chase and everything.
Yeah.
So very reminiscent.
The ad that was in the middle of for fucking whatever the car company was. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Nissan.
Wasn't very good
in the first film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she had a good story arc. Obviously, she got the dude at the end. He's obviously got beat up on the bridge, lost again at Wakanda. And,
learned a whole new language.
She did, just so she could
she could sass talk. Yeah.
Interesting plan. Also, let me just obviously the film ends with them taking a boat to the middle of the ocean so they can capture Namor. I don't know how smart that was.
Well, they had to lure him out, man.
I guess, but they're like, there's going to be no repercussion. We're just going to sail away. We'll be all good. You would think they would, put some, flying vessels or something on that. So you can just, let's just abandon this ship.
It was trying to fly, though, but they broke the flying mechanism, is what I got from it.
No, it broke their engine / their
sonic
thing, keeping the Atlanteans
because that's the other thing. I thought it looked like it was going to take off when they were preparing to take off and everything.
Maybe, but that ship didn't look very aerodynamic.
No.
It didn't look very buoyant either, but that's beside
It
looked very tall.
They can do what they want. Can I also say the whales looked sick in this? All the whale shots.
Yeah, how do we feel about the Tenochians?
The only part I didn't like was the first scene that they were in, other than I loved how scary they were. When the CIA agent or whoever she was shot him and managed to shoot the vibranium chest piece and not his bare and exposed chest everywhere else. She shoots twice and hits the vibranium. It's like, damn, it's not gonna work. It's that took me a little bit.
Then she took 3 or 4 out. Yeah. But they can't die apparently. So
the zombies.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal taking out the helicopter as well.
Fuck that helicopter up.
Yeah, I think they were the blue thing is they're only blue above land, right? I couldn't quite tell. Yes,
they're blue above land and normal
above water or whatever. Yes.
Yeah, when you see them underwater when Shuri goes there, they're all normal.
Yeah,
they're all normal.
I was confused.
Even his mum in the flashback.
It's sequence, they couldn't afford to do makeup on the.
No, his mum in the flashback sequence too was normal when you see the scenes of her underwater.
Yeah. I didn't mind the flashback stuff. I thought it was interesting, like, setup for explaining why the civilization is able to live underwater and all that. So,
no, I think it's interesting. I just felt like they just did the whole like it's just so stereotypical to have this like.
Well, if you're introducing somebody to your city and you just explain the history of your city, am I right? It's like, why are all these people calling you a god? Because I am a god. How'd you become the king? I was anointed at birth.
She didn't really.
I lived
ask.
hundreds of years.
She didn't ask. It just always reminds me when villains do this. Of I think it's Goldmember, Austin Powers, where like Seth Green, sorry, like the son, like Dr. Evil just starts explaining his whole backstory, and he's like, "Why are you telling him his whole plan? Like, why? Just kill him. Give me the gun. I'll do it."
Yeah. How do we feel about Riri? Obviously, it is a little bit like a backdoor pilot, I guess.
Well, it's yes and no. Like, we're already getting to the show, but it's like a backdoor introduction. So.
Yeah. I didn't love the suit design. I know. Maybe that's just me straight away.
I hated the fat like shoulder jets. I was like, you're telling me with Wakanda technology?
It just looked too CGI, I guess.
Okay.
What was my
well,
issue
she's gonna have a
design.
different. She's gonna have a different one in the show.
Yeah,
so.
she's gonna have a much cheaper suit on the show.
Yeah. So, no, I like the actress. I liked her chemistry with Shuri. I liked her little funny scene at the start where she's throwing JBL speakers at them or whatever's going on there. That was all good.
Probably different brands. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know, that's what they look like to me. No, again, as I said, I felt like I was going to sort of dislike her coming in because I felt like she was just going to be a unnecessary character, but I like the way that they melded her into the plot.
They set her up and she already had a suit. Like, she's smart enough to like already made a Stark Tech suit, effectively.
She made her an arc reactor, man.
Yeah.
Or equivalent to it that was in the shape of a pixel heart.
Yep. I love it. It's just, she's so pissed off and like pulling all her plans out and like burning them all and just pulls his blowtorch out of nowhere and doesn't blow it out, just sticks the blowtorch in the bin.
Yeah. Gotta get rid of evidence, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got Nakia, who I think, has an interesting story of kind of starting, she leaves Wakanda, has been away from Wakanda, working in Haiti for 6 years or whatever.
Since the blip, we assumed, like, working on outreach. She'd talked before about wanting to help other communities and that kind of stuff. And then, comes back to rescue Shuri. Has this magical bike thing that's able to go underwater as well, which is super handy. I guess you would go prepared if you're like, hey, these people are all underwater. Yeah, I didn't think twice about the bike thing. I'm like, she's going.
Yeah, no, I was
she's
like,
looking for people underwater.
Yeah. It's like, it's pretty lucky they invented that.
Yeah. They have fucking ships that can, fly and transform and whatever else. That bike thing was the least of my concerns.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then she sticks around to help Shuri take the potion or whatever. Black Panther potion.
I'm really I really enjoyed seeing Nakia again. I'm disappointed I didn't get more because I really liked her in the first film and I really liked Lupita as an actress. I understand why she wasn't in more of the film for story reasons, but yeah, I'm happy with what I got and would hope for more in 3 if we go for a third one or something like that. I mean, I always held out hope. Sure. I knew it was gonna I knew it wasn't gonna happen because, like in the comics, Shuri becomes a Black Panther. But I was always holding out hope that maybe it was a swerve.
Yeah. How did we feel about? Yeah. Obviously, they kept the Black Panther thing like a secret, but
we always like most people always.
We kind of knew it was going to be Shuri, but I kind of hoped it was going to be someone else, like
Nakia.
Yeah, or Koye, yeah.
Sure.
But, yeah. And obviously, we end the film with, Shuri, like, dealing with her grief, finally burning the funeral gown, which I assume is the one from Chadwick, because she only thinks of Chadwick, doesn't think about her mum at all during that sequence.
Maybe she just wore the same one. Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, and we find out that Nakia had a son with Chadwick, with T'Challa,
who's also named
T'Challa. You know, nice moment.
That kid was very adorable.
He was very performance. Your name's cool as well, I guess.
He was very. We'll say a little bit like maybe I don't know, but it was funny seeing Shuri continue to cry and break down for a moment, and like his little face like between the two of them, just with this massive smile on his face the whole time. I was like,
he knows it's tears of happiness, not tears of sadness. He knows.
I know. It's just funny in that moment. It's awkward.
Every Marvel movie is ending with someone having a kid now.
Young Avengers coming soon.
Just in case, right?
Hulk, kid.
Yeah.
Thor, kid. Black Panther, kid. Everyone's got kids. Who am I missing?
I mean, Wanda.
I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, Doctor Strange, technically, there's a kid who shows up the entire film, so...
Yeah, I guess, but it's not his kid.
Yeah.
They introduce a kid.
Any other thoughts on the movie?
Music was good. I like the soundtrack was... So, separating things. The soundtrack, good. It's definitely not like the first movie to me, solely because it's got... Thematically, it's more, I guess... it's just more...
Yeah.
It's more focused on the... What would you call it? Like the Haitian vibes?
The African style.
Would that be... that sort of... That's where the music is. It's more focused on actually the Namor influence than it is the Black Panther side, which is good. It's fine. But then the score, the music, the really fucking good, as always. But I was reminded consistently how good, like how much of a unique sound Black Panther has as a movie compared to every other Marvel movie, which has no unique sound at all. Like their soundtracks and their soundtrack may be okay with Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever, but the scores for every other MCU movie, there's just nothing about them that stands alike. Like apart from the Avengers theme, I can't think of any movie, like a Marvel movie where I'm like, oh yeah, that score, that piece of music or whatever, but it's just like Black Panther has carved out its own unique sound with the all those little sounds and the way they use them and build them up and all that sort of stuff. So and then the introducing of different sounds that they had for the Namor sequences and when they went underwater and like that had a very unique and different sound too. So yeah, I really thought the music was fantastic.
All right, Ciaran, what's the most marvelous moment of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever?
I think it is the post-credits scene for me. I don't know. For me, there's just something very special and very... It felt nice to have a post-credit scene that felt substantial, felt good, and just
let me pitch you something.
Time, which so many of
Alternative world. That scene just ends a movie and there's no after credit scene. Because it's dumb as fuck.
Which
that's
also
an after credit scene. That should have just been the way the movie ended.
Well, yes. Yeah, 100% I do agree. But
I feel like they just wanted to beat for like, remembering Chadwick.
I feel like that scene just played like it literally is just they've cut 2 minutes from the end of the movie.
Yeah, I mean they literally. I'm sure they shot it in one take. Like you know what I mean. Yeah. But yeah, it's fine. Dylan, what's your most marvelous moment?
Fuck if I know. I wanna. Fuck, I don't know. It's really hard, hey. Let's just go with. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. It's hard. You go. I'll think.
I kind of want to go the Killmonger scene.
Nah,
I think
you're wrong.
It was great to see Michael B. Jordan come back and just have that interaction with Shuri. Someone you didn't have much interaction with in the Black Panther film. And obviously it sets up this quest for vengeance that Shuri has for the rest of the film. So it's like, why? Yeah. There's a bit of like who you pick. What ancestor is the best fit for what you want from the Black Panther powers or whatever.
Yeah, I'll go with Angela Bassett firing Okoye.
Yeah, that was pretty powerful.
It was a very like powerful scene. Like,
okay.
like
She just lays it out.
Yeah, and that's a really strong performance from Angela Bassett. Like, particularly that, the whole, like, I've lost everyone, don't tell, like, all that sort of stuff. So I feel like that was, like, like the most. It's
crazy that she pulls out events from Black Panther, something that happened 6 years ago. She's been holding this grudge against Okoye this entire time.
No, I don't think she's been holding this grudge.
You just sat there and did nothing while Killmonger, my nephew, came in and took over.
I think she's holding the grudge. I just think that in the moment of grief, she's like pulling out, these memories and stuff.
You don't pull those things out unless you hold a bit of a grudge.
And I mean, the fact is that we all know where her partner was. And that was, he was filming Nope instead of being in this movie.
His treacherous partner. Out working with another
director. Yeah, out working with another director. How dare he? So, fucking Daniel Kaluuya, what are you doing? I'll pick that. I think that was like some of the strongest performance. I mean, the movie's got lots of strong performances, but that particular sequence is great.
I would also shout out the Angela Bassett drowning sequence. It's crazy that he throws those water bombs and they flood the entire floor beneath the throne chamber.
There's a lot of water in those. They do show throughout the entire movie how much water comes out of those. So
yeah,
and he threw like several.
Yeah, there is a lot.
So
yeah. Also, like when they first attack Wakanda, and like there's just water all over the streets, and they're like, "We're under attack," and then bam, water everywhere. Also, shout out to the whales in this movie. Really good use of whales.
Yeah.
Like M'Baku looking underground, and then there's like a killer whale coming out. And then like the whales throwing them up on the ship.
I'll say the CGI in this movie looked better than the first one, but there was one sequence, the one moment where I was like, "Oh, that's rough," was actually when Namor was like, right after Shuri's chasing him in her ship, and he like runs along some like pole and jumps towards the camera into the water or whatever. I was like, oh, that was like the one rough moment where I was like, this is very clearly like fake as fuck. Like it really stood out. But everything else I was quite happy with.
Alright. Let us know what you think of Black Panther Wakanda Forever by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump into our Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars. Anywhere you can leave 5 stars. Or just tell people about the #1 Australian-made MCU podcast on the internet. And if you really enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our page at explosion.com/supports. So, we're here at the end of Phase 4. We are planning to do a Phase 4 wrap-up episode in which we'll be giving a bunch of awards as well. Yes, I've discussed this previously. This is a thing we're definitely going to do. But we will also be returning on November 25th for the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. So make sure you watch that and join us next time for another all-new Marvel cast.
Fuck you, Kevin Bacon, we're coming.
And for the final time on the Explosion Network podcast, I never freeze.